You know, every era has that one architect who didn't just design buildings. They redesigned how we think about buildings. For the 20th century, yeah, that was Le Corbusier. Love him or hate him, his ideas shaped almost everything we consider modern architecture today. So today, we're diving into the philosophy behind his work, the bold ideas, the controversial ones, and the ones that still echo through our cities. Le Corbusier had a way with words and manifestos. One of his most famous lines is, "A house is a machine for living in." Now, he didn't mean cold metal boxes. He meant that homes should function with the same clarity and efficiency as a well-designed machine. No unnecessary decoration, no historical fluff, just purpose. In his mind, architecture shouldn't imitate the past. It should solve the problems of modern life. And in the early 1900s, those problems were pretty clear. Overcrowding, poor sanitation, chaotic cities. Le Corbusier believed a new industrial world needed new architectural material, new architectural ideas. Corbusier had these 5 points that became the backbone of his design philosophy. First is pilotis, column lifting the building off the ground. Let the earth breathe. Free the ground for gardens. Also, looks cool. 2. Free plan. Walls don't have to hold up the house. Structure and layout become independent. Goodbye thick load-bearing walls. Third, free facade. The outside can be anything you want. Since the structure is handled by columns, facades can be sculpted freely. Fourth, horizontal windows, long ribbon windows. More light, more views, the eye can travel. Fifth, roof garden, nature on top. Instead of wasting the roof, make it usable. Let people reconnect with the sky. These ideas may sound normal today, but for that time, they were a revolution. These weren't just aesthetic ideas. They represented freedom. Freedom from structural limitations, from historical styles, from the constraints of old materials. They were Corbusier's way of saying, let architecture move forward. Corbusier loved geometry. Actually, he trusted geometry more than people. But he tried to bridge the gap with something called the Modulor, a proportional system based on the human body, or at least his idealized version of it. Think Vitruvian Man meets golden ratio. He believed that good proportions weren't just artistic. They were almost spiritual. If buildings were shaped around human scale and harmony, they'd naturally feel right. Of course, his chosen human was very specific. 6 feet tall, European, male, not exactly universal. But the intention was to find a mathematical foundation for comfort and beauty. Here's where Corbusier goes from genius to controversial. He imagined entire cities rebuilt from scratch. Super blocks, massive towers, highways slicing through the grid, everything arranged with machine-like precision. His most famous idea, the Villa Reduce, and I know that I'm saying it wrong, the Radiant City, was a strict geometric utopia of towers in parks. To him, this was order. To critics today, it looks a little authoritarian. His ideas influenced post-war housing across the world. Some successful, some catastrophic. It turns out people don't always want to live in perfect grids or towering slabs. He believed he was solving chaos, but in some cases, he just created a different kind of alienation. So, why talk about Corbusier today? Because he fundamentally changed the question architects ask. Instead of how do we decorate the building, he asked, how should humans live? How should cities function? What does the future look like? Even if his answers weren't perfect, the question remains essential. Sustainability, density, modularity, these are still Corbusier's conversations. He pushed architecture from tradition into theory, from craft into ideology. In the end, Le Corbusier wasn't just drawing blueprints. He was drawing a worldview, a world where clarity beats clutter, function beats ornament, and geometry is practically a religion. You don't have to agree with him, but you can't ignore him. He shaped the modern landscape, for better and for worse. If you want more episodes diving into architecture and philosophy from Louis Kahn to Zaha Hadid, hit that like button so I know you want more deep dives. Thanks for watching, and remember, buildings are never just buildings, they're ideas made permanent. Thanks for watching, and until next time.